In this problem, you're being given a sequence that begins with the number 2, where each following term is negative 2 times the preceding term. And they even give you a small example just to get you started. And what you're being asked to determine is how many of the first 50 terms are less than 100. Well, clearly you could solve this problem by taking every term and, multiplying it out and developing your series, and then just counting how many of these terms are less than 100. But what I would suggest to you is that even with a calculator, that would take you a considerable amount of time, and you only have a limited amount of time on the SAT. So in terms of your allotted time, if you did it that way, it would use up more than the amount of time you should be using up on that one problem. So I guess where I'm steering you is that what we need to do is see if we can't figure out some sort of a pattern and use that pattern to zoom in to the answer. Okay, well, again, I'm sort of going to go back on my word a little bit here, but I think we need to extend out the series just to see if we can get our pattern. So we start out with 2, then we go negative 4, then we go 8, then we go negative 16, then we go 32, then we go negative 64, and then we go to 128. And we can stop there, and I'll tell you why we stopped there in a second. When you think about this, how many of the first 50 terms are less than 100? What we know for sure is that 25 of those terms, at least, are going to be less than 100. How do we know that? Because we know that the way this goes, it goes positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, right? All the negative numbers are clearly less than 100. So we know right off the bat that 25 at least are going to be less than 100. Now, how many more than 25 are going to be less than 100? That's your next question. Well, if you look at this pattern, the 2 is still less than 100. 8 is still less than 100. 32 is still less than 100. But 128 is more than 100. So what we have is we have 1, 2, 3 positive numbers that are less than 100. So we're going to have 25 negative numbers that are less than 100 plus 3 positive numbers. That's going to give you 28 total numbers out of this sequence that are less than 100. So your answer is 28.